Hello everyone, join us today is one of the leading executives of internationally televised sporting events. He has been involved with every Olympic coverage ever since 1968. We're actually just in his office right now. I'm very honored to present Mr. Manolo Romero. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Mr. Romero, your company OBS has been established by the IOC as the permanent Olympic broadcaster through 2012, and you personally have been involved with the Olympic coverage ever since 1968. How has the Olympic coverage changed ever since?
Well, it's very difficult to summarize in a few words, but maybe what I can say is that by then there was not a host broadcaster in 1968. It had to be a pool of the broadcasters that covered the games. In the case of 68 in Mexico was American company, European company, Japanese company, and a local Mexican. It was a pool. Television was black and white. Satellites were just starting. And really the number of hours that was covered maybe was a couple of hundred hours. Today we do cover more than 5,000 hours here in Beijing for the first time in high definition and surround sound. And therefore you cannot compare one with another. It's a completely different era. And the progress that broadcasting have experienced since then is enormous. We compare to the previous games in Athens, where coverage was already very advanced and many records were beaten. I hope that here that will be even more. For example, we serve 19,000 broadcasters. In Athens was 12,000. The number of hours in Athens was 3,400. Here is more than 5,000. And as I said, all in high definition and with a production quality that we hope will continue as it is now until the end of the games.
At this time, Beijing is the host city. Were there any additional challenges that you encountered here that you never had before?
The games are a very big challenge in itself. We try always to do it better, to go farther, to go higher, and to go faster. And because of the size of the games and the challenge it involves, it is always difficult to plan such a big event. Here we had, perhaps from our point of view, was a little bit more difficult to communicate here in China, language barriers and cultural barriers. But the good thing that we have is that all the broadcasters that cover the Olympic form a family since many years ago. And here in China, of course, we had the support and the assistance of CCTV that help us in breaking those barriers. And I think at the end of the day, we can say that from the operational point of view, these games are very similar to the previous ones.
The opening ceremony has always played a greater role in expressing the host country's culture. Just culture-wise, how do you think Bob's coverage being played to the audiences?
Well, from the very beginning, we had 2 years out. We have an excellent cooperation with Zhang Yimou, the director. We had no issue whatsoever. The communication was very good. And we felt that there was no barrier. So it was a pleasure to work with him, and I think he understood the needs of broadcasting. And as I said, we had our team working with the team of opening ceremonies, and hopefully now with the closing ceremonies coming next week. And we believe that the show was magnificent. The reports we have had from everybody is that there were no barriers. Even if this was the history of China, the culture here, everybody perceived it, with great interest and with admiration. So it was an excellent opening ceremony.
Has the Olympic coverage of BOB gone exactly the way you thought it would be so far?
Well, we try always to do it better, and after the games, obviously we will review and see how things work. In 5,000 hours of coverage, it's very difficult to have all the hours with top level. But the reaction we have had so far from the broadcasters that we are providing the footage, including NBC, through to the smallest broadcaster, and obviously with a domestic rights holder here, CCTV. All the feedback that we get is that they are very happy with our coverage.
We also know that you are a 7-time Emmy Award winner. What does that mean to you?
Well, that means that we are working very hard. I don't think we are a legend, but I have the chance and the honor to be involved with all these Olympic Games. I love the Olympics. I love the Olympic ideals. So we work very hard because we want to make it better and more excellent. Mm-hmm. And we feel very proud that the broadcasters and finally the viewers that will see the results of our work enjoy the Olympics. The challenge is that technology evolves, the coverage evolves, mm-hmm. the viewers evolve. Right. And like in these games we have, for example, new media, mm-hmm. internet and mobile phones and other new technologies that are being used. And we are trying to adapt to the new media, and we have broadcasters that only cover new media. Mm-hmm. So this is the wonderful thing, that we have always challenges in front of us. Right. And the thing does not become a question that is boring because it's always the same. No, every time is different, mm-hmm. and we try to cope with the new needs.
This is the first time that high definition has been used in Olympic coverage. How do you think it can be projected in the future broadcasting of the Olympic coverage?
Well, when we made the decision that this will be covered in high definition was in 2004. Mm-hmm. And at that time, still there were not available many things that we are using today, many tools that we are using today. Some equipment was not available. For example, the microwave equipment that we use with the helicopters and with radio frequency cameras, super high-speed cameras, and other video servers and other technological tools. They were not available, mm-hmm. so we had to push companies to develop these new tools. Now, obviously, after these games, many broadcasters will be using these tools because they have been developed for the games. Mm-hmm. The challenge is, what do we do in the next games? We are already starting to think how will be the next games. Mm-hmm. And this is part of this process of trying to do every time better and manage also the expectations. High definition now is starting the service in China, in the mm-hmm. United States, in many parts of the world. I think something that is new here in London will be already normal. And everybody will be used to see high definition.
Mm-hmm. The partnership between IOC and OBS has been going on for almost half a century. How has the cooperation gone so far?
Well, OBS is a company of the IOC, so therefore it has to be very well because OBS is from the IOC. What is perhaps a little different than in previous games is that now we are not depending from the organizing committee, but we are depending from the IOC. And we try, at the end of the day, what we are trying always to do is to provide the best possible service to the rights holders. Mm-hmm. So it is in the interest of the IOC and it is in the interest of the organizing committee that the rights holders have the best possible working facilities. If they have these working facilities, the best possible ones, the coverage of the games will be excellent. And they range from broadcasters that invest a lot of money in the games, like for example NBC, that obviously they need to have a very good coverage to recover part of these investments, mm-hmm. to other broadcasters that are public services like CCTV, mm-hmm. and they do not depend that much in the income that they get from advertising, but they have the obligation to provide their viewers with the best possible view. As I said always, we would like for the television viewer at the end of all this work to have the best seat in the stadium. And if that is the case, then we feel very happy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.